Hey, what's going on everyone? Paul Mendez here with Profitable Freelancer. And in this video, I want to go into a topic that a lot of people ask me to go over, and that's how can you sell your services to more freelance clients? And more importantly, how can you actually land those high-paying clients, those clients that you can get a monthly retainer from, which means they're going to pay you money every single month for your freelance services. So to do that, I have a presentation here, and we're going to get into the basics of selling your freelance services, because that's really all where it stems from. So getting into the first part, selling is essential. So understanding this is really the building block of everything else to come. Because in order to get good at sales, you need to commit to it and understand that no matter what you're doing in life, you're selling. So might as well get good at it. Next, like I was just saying, you need to commit to getting good at it, because this is what's going to open the doorway to your success as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, is getting other people to see the value in the actual services you provide and really get them to trust you with their money. And that's how you're going to really set yourself up for success. And that goes into having confidence in yourself and in your products. You know, no one wants to hire someone who isn't confident in their services and their ability to actually provide the value, that they need. So when you're going out there as a freelancer, make sure that you have this in mind. You understand that you need to come off as extremely confident, but not arrogant, but very confident that you know what you're talking about. And this is not always has to be from you just saying it out loud. This can be just from your tone, your demeanor, the way that you're able to describe the value that you provide. And next, always agree with the client. So this is another basic of selling that a lot of people actually accidentally go against. And that's because they don't understand that whenever you approach a client in a new situation, you need to really focus on how you can be the most agreeable and not confrontational. Because when a client has ideas for a project, they might have, spent a lot of money on that, but let's say they're doing something the wrong way. You don't want to bring things up and disagree with them very harshly. You want to do it in a way that's respectful, professional, and agree with them and understand where they're coming from. See things from their perspective, and that's going to help you really show that you care, and that's going to help you land more sales. And in addition, that goes into building more trust, because trust is vital to the sale. Trust is really the reliance on the integrity, the ability, and the surety of a person or a thing. So as a freelancer, your career and your success really relies on the trust and the credibility that you build. And once you build that trust, and once you appear credible in your certain niche, whatever you're doing as a freelancer, that's when you are really going to start to see that all of your work paid off, because now you are a credible name and you're going to have clients that are reaching out to you. But in the beginning, I know it's not like that, but that's why you need to understand where you're going, understand the journey, and that's why you need to build the foundation building blocks to freelance selling. So now that we understand how important it is to sell your services and get good at it, now let's look at how you can build more credibility with clients so you can increase your sales even further. So the first thing you can do is always show things in writing. Now, people tend to believe things that they see in writing a lot more than what they just hear, because it's easy to kind of forget what you heard, right? You filter a lot of things out, but when you have something in writing, like an email or a message, you're not going to forget. You can always go back to it, that text or whatever it is, and look at it, that message, that email. But just something that someone said over the phone, you're not going to remember. So always remember that in every step of the sales process. Whether you're presenting things, whether you're showing them case studies, whether you're, keeping all of your evidence and what you've worked on and, your work history, and you're showing that to the client. Don't just tell them, show them that in writing, and it's really going to help you stand out and sell more clients. You can also use third-party data, and this is amazing if you don't have much experience. Let's say you're just starting out with freelancing, or you're going into a new field, or you're doing something you haven't done before, and you don't have a testimonial to give a potential client. you can like really use outside data. People don't understand this, and it's a very powerful thing that anyone can do. Go on Google, do your due diligence, your research, find reputable sources, and actually make claims that are substantial but are from third-party sources. So you can align yourself with the research other people have already done. And that's how you're gonna sell more clients, because like we just said, people, they believe things that they see in writing much more than things they hear. So not only are you going to give them things in writing, but now you're also going to give them third-party data, so they're not just trusting you, but they're also getting more credibility from another source. In addition, this goes into the first part again, but never give your price just over the phone. If you want to build credibility, you need clients to know that, you're going to put together a full proposal. You're going to put things in writing. You're actually going to articulate yourself in a professional manner in a service agreement or a contract. Don't just say, oh, this is how much it's going to be, before you really are at that level where you can do that. When you're still getting started, you need to really follow these building blocks in order to have the most success. And then remember, the more data, the better. The more data you can give clients at every stage of the process, the more credible you're going to appear. And the more information you have ready in real time, whether that's on the initial call when you're trying to land the client, or let's say you're on a recap call with a current client, always have information ready real time that's accurate. And that's going to make you seem much more credible, because now not only are you just looking at past data and giving them reports on a certain basis, but now you actually are having things ready in real time. They know you're engaged, they know you're actively listening, and it's going to help you not only just sign new clients, but keep the clients you have even longer, which is just as important. And then after that, you want to use screen sharing as much as possible. So this also builds so much credibility at any stage of the process. But when someone is able to actually see your face, even though it's through technology and something you're not actually right there, it really gets more of that human interaction in, and it has people feel an emotion, whether that's, a positive or a negative emotion. They're going to feel something when they actually are communicating with you and looking for the right freelancer to hire. So if you are trying to separate yourself from the pack, if you already have a bunch of reviews, that's awesome. You should use this as an ability to show that off, to do screen shares, to show past work. But even if you don't have that, use screen sharing and video chatting as a way to build credibility, when you don't have all those reviews, because now they can actually see you're a real person. You can use that third-party data, still show things in writing, but that is a great way you can sell more clients. And then now the next section I want to get into is how you can actually use your phone to profit as a freelancer. And this is all about really selling more clients and using the tools that are available to you. So the phone is something that really never leaves most people's sides, right? It's next to them as an alarm clock when they wake up, and they're on it, throughout the day for business or for just talking to family and friends. So tap into this tool and really understand that this is your best friend when it comes to selling and when it comes to clients. People really trust their phones, right? They get so much information from their phone. They, like we just said, they talk to their family, their friends on the phone, but they're also getting news content on their phone. They're looking at how other people are living on social media. So people are just instinctively trustworthy of their phone. So you can utilize that and get in touch with people on that phone to sell more clients. It really opens the doorway to more sales. When you're able to get on the phone with a potential client or even an existing client, you're really able to do a lot more than you can do otherwise, right? So when you're on the phone, you can have the client answer questions, you can qualify them. All of those are things that are going to help you get closer to either upselling them or to landing them if they're not a client yet. And the phone also lets you qualify leads. So as a freelancer and you're going out there, you're trying to learn more information about selling and freelancing, which is awesome. That's why you're watching this video. But also remember that you need to have your own boundaries, and you need to make sure that every client that you work with is going to be able to give you a good review and actually help further your career, right? You don't want to work with a nightmare client or a bad client. We've all had that or heard of those horror stories before. So use the phone. Use it to actually qualify potential clients, and even just talk to existing clients to continue to qualify them and make sure that you are only working with people that are a good fit for you. That's how you're going to have so much more success. And also use the phone as a way to build relationships. That's a way you can get in touch with people like never before in history. It's in everyone's pocket. You can text, you can email, you can call, you can FaceTime, you can social media message. There's so many options to really get in touch with people, to network, to find new clients, and to get new opportunities. And that's a whole part of selling, is using all the tools that are available to you. And now let's go into some ways you can profit over the phone. We're gonna do a couple rapid fire things here to wrap this up, so learn to communicate well. Now that we've discussed, how important the phone is, there's only going to be so much you can do when you're not really communicating well. So that's the first part. Once you already know that you need to use the phone, it's learning how to speak, to articulate yourself, the value that you provide, right? And also learn how to practice on the phone and role play so you can be more comfortable. And also ask the right questions. When you're on the phone, asking questions and keeping the focus on the client is so important. That's what's going to open up all of what you want to hear, all of the objections, all of the fake objections. It's going to really bring that to the surface. And have a call script pulled up. You don't want to just wing it. You need to have a script pulled up that has all of the important things you want to hit on when you're on that call with the client. Also, over the phone, use texting and writing to increase your conversion rates while you're actually on the phone with clients. And you can also follow up with the phone. It's so powerful. You can follow up in a lot of creative ways. And if you know anything about sales, you know that people don't usually convert right away. It usually takes a couple different messages, a couple touch points. A lot of stats out there actually say that it's between the 5th and the 12th touch point that people actually convert. So remember that and use the phone to your benefit. And you can text your clients that third-party data as well. It's not just through emailing. You can also get it directly to their text message inbox. And role play, that's basically just practicing. Never give up that practice and working on getting better at selling your services. And practice handling those most common objections. So you're probably going to get a few different objections. There's the price objection if your client says your fees are too high, or there's, I'm going to talk to my spouse about it. There's a couple different common objections that you're going to get as a freelancer, but that depends on what service you offer. So practice handling whatever comes up most often for you. And then have a big claim, have a big offer that you can communicate over the phone. And that's pretty much the value you deliver as a freelancer. You need to be able to communicate that through a big claim. So for example, I help businesses increase their conversion rate by 50% on average. Something like that. It doesn't matter what service you provide, be able to quantify that into a claim. And lastly, make sure to end every interaction with a call to action and the next steps for both parties involved. Now, this is something that's so easy to skip over, and you might think you touch on what both parties need to do next, but really make sure this is very clear. So after you get on the phone with a client and before you get off the phone and the conversation is almost over, make sure you say, hey, what are the next steps here? What can I do for you? If I already have a proposal that I know I'm going to send them, maybe just ask them, hey, are you available to review that if I send that to you on this day? Make sure you really outline what the next steps are, because that's what's going to help get you further along the journey. There's so many times if I could tell you that I missed out because a call went great with a client, but I didn't really establish the next steps. And then long story short, once you go back and forth with them, they end up going a different way, whatever it is. But when you're a little bit more serious and you come off as more professional by doing this and having that next step and not being afraid to ask, are you interviewing other freelancers? Am I the only one you're talking to? Whatever it is, make sure you end with that call to action and with those next steps. So I hope that video was helpful to understand really how to maximize your freelance sales, how to land more high-paying clients. Once again, my name is Paul and I'm with Profitable Freelancer. And as always, I look forward to your freelance success.